to get in here, and then draw the unlucky stick in the fact that they've got Vitality.Bee and they have got a mountain to climb. But seriously, for this Czech team, for the Hitpoint Masters representative, what a glow up they've had, because in spring they finished second. They lost to Entropic in the finals. They go into E-Master Plains. They go 1-5. They bomb out. It's awful. This summer, it's looking pretty rough. They finished 7-7. They have to climb this incredible lower bracket run. They win in the finals. They get into play-ins. They then manage to go and get out of play-ins groups into this playoffs. They've got to see how far they can go. It's a mighty challenge ahead of them, but maybe, just maybe, they've got what it takes.
And of course, don't want to speak for the Czech Republic region as a whole, but the amount of pride that you must feel from this eSuba team, having that comeback, having the make or break through the entire summer playoff run through their own regular season, and then of course now making it not just through the first group stage of play-ins, but up against a very formidable knockout stage team. I think regardless, the Czech Republic are going to go home with their head held high, and deservedly so as well, because they've had a phenomenal tournament, and eSuba specifically have had a phenomenal year all around.
Oh yeah, it's been a great year for this team, and the question now becomes, how high do they go home with their heads, right? Can they get on to the next stage? Maybe they don't go home, exactly. Maybe this dream just keeps going that little bit longer. Of course, still a ways to go, still got to play through a very difficult opponents here, of course. See whether they can make this all work from here. And of course, I now need to ask you, where are your eyes drawn? I'm assuming this mid-jungle we've highlighted already, but is there anywhere else you'd really like to keep our eyes on?
I think whenever Sagenda's in a game, you kind of always have to keep an eye on top lane just to make sure that we're not seeing any extreme gaps come through very early on. But this bot side of the map, whilst the AD carries don't necessarily want to scale, you can already see that these supports are very happy to throw down.
Do indeed. Vasquez has to flash out early on as Jack Troll will burn the Ignite, and there's a ghost off Yeskler as well. But early trade definitely favoring Vitality.Bee's bot side there. Flash down on Vasquez is a rough one to lose this early on.
And certainly can be exploited if we get to see some pathing down toward this bot side. Fortunately enough for eSuba, Skeen starting out on that red buff, going for a full clear on the Vi, looking to rush that level 6 out as fast as possible. Is not himself going to be spotted out, but seeing those Raptors, going to be a good window to allow eSuba a bit of aggressive trading down on the spot side. They know where the Vi is. They've got this window where they can try and push and punish the weak stages of the Zeri. Reminder, we said 3 items is when she really comes online. So before that is when you really want to exploit her.
Yeah, they do their very best to make sure that that is what happens and see whether that comes to fruition. Of course, you know, you've still got some decent scaling on both sides. Here is another good knock-up into that Ultra Shock Laser as well. Deadly combo indeed, doing what they can to make sure it still works out. But, you know, you have got Danny here on the Twitch. Twitch has been seeing something of an answer potentially into this area where you hit that Blade of the Ruin King, you can pop out and just blow her up before she gets to go anywhere, and she tries to run away and just can't get out of range of your Rat-a-tat-tat, or is it Spray and Pray now? It's renamed itself again so many times. I kind of oscillate between the two. And it's been a relatively quiet early game. Aside from that flash gone, we need to see whether Danny and crew can get themselves to a point where they can contest against that very deadly pick combo that Vitality.Bee have in their top 3 members of their roster particularly.
And I would like to see eSuba play towards Danny. For me, was one of the linchpin carries for the tiebreaker game that we managed to take. I think that him on pretty much any carry in general, hyper carry that is to the late game, tends to bode well for eSuba. Has already played a game of Twitch through the E-Masters playing stage as well, and getting his Aphelios and Draven banned away literally every single game. And on to touch a little bit more as well on Sagittor's LeBlanc in the mid lane, because for me, I was looking at these picks and I was, you know, there's always the classic saying of, oh, we're throwing down the gauntlet. But taking LeBlanc on 1 when you see the Ahri coming through is a big hands check. This has been a skill matchup for seasons upon seasons, and it's always flailed back and forth between, oh, how does Charm interact? Because that tends to decide how the matchup goes. But Sagittor, on the best side of this matchup right now, and looking to try and punish it. It's a champion that got banned away from eSuba 43% of their games through the playing stage so far. So clearly something that teams that are playing against eSuba and eSuba themselves feel very comfortable having.
See whether that works out in practice, of course, because there's so many bans and so many picks that get banned for forever, and you bring them back up, and it's like, that really probably wasn't worth banning. No, can actually have
wait, I forgot to play this. Oh no!
We're allowed to play it. And as well. Oh, Danny here as well, actually now looking in, has managed to get himself down to about 200, 300 HP here, which is a rough place to be. Definitely being chunked out pretty early on. Root onto Jack Troll onto the tower, but It's going to lead to too much, expunging his way to a couple minion kills there. But it is feeling like, at least in those laning stats right now, Jessica just coming out just ahead in terms of getting some more of those CS, 10 CS already. And, this is a cold start as well. It's not an aggressive option here. It's kind of looking to try and leverage those hands to try and get them the early advantage from lanes. And I know that's something that you were telling me when we were prepping for these teams, that you felt Vitality.Bee arguably had the best hands in the whole of the LFL, potentially, at least as a whole squad, which is a bold statement, but you sort of see the argument.
Yeah, of course, the other side of that coin is obviously, what about LDLC? What about those guys? And, I agree, they've got very good hands as well. And through the main stage initialize, you're going to get a great chance to see quite how good
I'm very excited, yeah.
But I do think that Sagenda is maybe just too good at carry tops to maybe offset a little bit more of the LDLC prejudice that some people may have. Now, of course, going back to base already on that top lane, rushing straight into that pickaxe, we've seen Renekton's diversify their build path in the patch gone by. Blade of the Ruin King tends to be the rush option of choice. And then you have a myriad of mythic items that you can go for. I've seen Frostfire Gauntlet, I've seen Sunfire Aegis, I've seen Stridebreaker and Gore Drinker. There are a lot of things that you can opt into as that second item, but it's all tantamount to having a very good one-item dueling spike.
Oh, yes. And, Sagenda is no stranger to Renekton either. It's the second most played champion of all time, by the by. He's got something like a 74% win rate on the champion, 5.9 on KDA, so very comfortable on the champion, even, of course. They've been a little bit, shall we say, controversial over the last season or so, but starting to come back into prevalence as some of those other builds have come through, as some other changes have come through. Hell, I know Aragon, if you ever chat to him about Renekton, which you should do, guys, very smart about the champion, will call out things like Chem Tank being even a viable build on the champion. As B have taken this opportunity to maybe sneak a little dive up here onto Welcome, who's going to realize there's 3 people here and he might not be so happy. Oh boy, there's Dominus.
And there it is.
Yeah, nothing more to be done. Actually gets the Mega Gnar afterwards. What is this? Doing his best to get the damage. Right track troll gets crunched on. Goes down at first blood. They got too cocky. They backed away.
Yeah, and honestly, overestimating their capabilities on the top side here, Vitality.Bee. We talked about the 2-man core. They were missing one of those crucial pieces. They substituted Diplex for Jack Troll. That is a damage deficit that you cannot make up with a level 4 Rakan. And on that top side, turning Mega just in time. Velcom not just able to ward off the dive, but to pick up First Blood, pick up that big wave. That's a huge swing going the way of Welcome in the top side that Vitality.Bee had really not expected.
Definitely not. They've got to try and play this one out. As Jessica, though, has popped the lightning crash, and Danny might now be in danger. He's got Flash, may need to pop it, trying to get into the ambush. He's got Ghost running as well, so should be able to get out to safety, but you're always a little afraid when Lazeri is chasing you down. One of her primary strengths, that ability to just keep going, but will just be the summoner popped and nothing else more. Forced out of lane, maybe get some plates over to Vitality.Bee at least.
So, top side versus bot side, it feels like a little bit for this game. And as we look at that bot side, and Jessica has got himself already 800 gold lead, the 30 CS disparity, a couple plates going his way as well. Versus that top side, which obviously had that very wayward dive for Vitality.Bee. Welcome going to be a large carry force through the early stages of this game for eSuba, and I really don't mind that either. The top side triad that eSuba have got for themselves are a very good skirmish set of champions. Particularly now we've reached level 6. Wukong Cyclone available, and he's got a Sheen. Once that Divine Sunderer comes through, I will always maintain this, that Wukong level 6, Wukong with ulti and a Divine Sunderer, the best dueling jungler that exists in League of Legends right now.
It's
so
very
when you
strong.
hit those spikes, you need to try and punish those. eSuba, for the time being, have been fairly passive in their playstyle, owing to the fact that they do have this Twitch to fall back on a little bit later on, but I would love to see them get a bit more proactive around their Mega Gnar windows, around their Wukong and LeBlanc spikes, which are coming through very, very quickly.
Okay, a little bit of a fun fact for you. What do you think Welcome's win rate on Gnar is at this EU Masters tournament?
100%.
Absolutely. What do you think his KDA is?
4.2.
34.0.
Close.
Over 3 games, this guy has absolutely monstered on the Gnar, but maybe Shigenda looking to cut that down a little bit. Get the crunch! The solo kill topside. Shigenda gets some Ventus for early, but now Danny opening fire at the other side, flashing away, trying to keep that spray and pray going, and Skeens on the wrong side has to flash out. Jessica, Yaki, I apologize, looking for another engage. Hookshot laser coming in, as in they go again. Skeens gets Danny, but it's traded straight back. Vasket gets in with the hook, and they're trying to trade this one out. It's 2 back. In fact, eSuba are winning this fight just about Yaki taken out, but there's a death charge on the Yeskler, but he's just untouched. They cannot get him. Flash forward from Diplex. The War Foxfires will get him, and that is a even trade-ish, but the top side solo kill probably puts that more in favor of Vitality.Bee.
And you know what? There should be a rule about casters trying to hype up players. That was peak caster curse if I've ever seen it.
I did that before. I did begin to wonder. I've got a problem.
And it couldn't have come at a better time, and this just speaks to why we were talking about Sagenda being such a powerful carry for Vitality.Bee in the top lane. There was a dive that went down in his lane where his enemy top laner got a first blood, got a massive wave under the turret, off the back of getting 3 members of Vitality.Bee's own team sent up to that top side. It was a great turnaround by Welcome. But he didn't manage to translate that into the solo kill. Sagenda, regardless of resources, failed expenditure. He was able to come out on top in that 1 versus 1. And this is what makes Vitality.Bee so very scary for me, is that normally they don't expend many resources up to this top side. Normally they can put Sagenda on whatever matchup they fancy, and he will win it on his own. This time, they helped him out a little bit in the worst way possible, and he still won it on his own.
Yeah, just like, team, what have you done? Why have you given my opponent first blood? Still gets a solo kill afterwards. And of course, it's still a very playable game, don't get me wrong, but 10 minutes in, Vitality.Bee already up a healthy amount of gold. A reminder, 6.9 thousand gold ahead at 15 on average. Not quite on track for that as yet, but still is an early advantage to the team.
And crucially, those early item spikes that I was trying to touch on haven't quite been hit just yet. We're still waiting on Sagittor's first item, but a good double chain.
Legs.
Not going to quite result in a kill.
Yeah, no ignite, so it's just going to be a solid chunk, and that's about it. 20 seconds until what would be another Drake, though, so maybe with that chunk out and no teleport for Diplex as yet, has got the spellbook, of course, so maybe he has that available in the back pocket somewhere on another page. Does mean maybe they've got the opportunity to set up control in the river, but Jacktroll and Yeskler are the ones that have the command right now. And there's the Immortal Shield Bow, nice and early, and healthy gold lead in particular for Zeri, up 1.4 thousand gold herself.
Yeah, and this is, I was questioning really, when do eSuba try and take a fight? I'd love to see them still try and go for something right now. They've hit that Divine Sundra on Yaki. I think that him getting a hold of that item is going to give them the large share of priority down on this bot side. There is, of course,
Ooh, Yaki does have to pop the Cyclone. There's the cease and desist after, so going very deep for this overcome. Yes, Yeskler, I apologize. Confusing a couple names there, but it doesn't matter as Yeskler gets that kill. A second for him. And very much off to the races. And right, just like that, Dragon will be Vitality.Bee's.
Just a little bit split there, unfortunately. Yaki goes for 1 ward too far. Jacktroll and Skeens are there to punish. And I was talking about this Wukong Divine Sundra item spike. Unfortunately, it was too far offset by the power of this bot lane. Now Sagittor.
Oh, Diplex trying to trade this one out. He's got another Spirit Rush. He just gets the kill. Vasket was around, but Diplex gets a solo on the other side. Vitality.Bee, now they're running away with it. And have to probably lodge a complaint here as well, because Yeskler and Yaki, I keep confusing their names. And it's not fair because they're completely different, but I'm like, too many J's pronounced like Y's. I'm getting confused as maybe there's a bit of a turnaround here as Yeskler just gets over the wall though, and so will likely be just safe as Yaki.
Oh, that's too far.
They really want this. That's very deep. Welcome is here, but they've teleported. They want to commit to this. All the while Sagenda having that free time on the top side. Spray and Pray is coming down. Flash away from Jacktroll. Shut down to Welcome. And they do make it work, but they have to chase very long and very deep for that one.
I want to see them try and make a little bit more of this play. Steal away this red buff, steal away the Raptors. They need to make the most of this advantage that they've got, but Vitality.Bee, they're not going to give it up easy. Recognize that with Welcome still in the vicinity, they don't have too much leeway to get away with this fight. The 2v3 that would be going in eSuba's favor, certainly something that Vitality.Bee here recognizing at the very least, and giving up that extra kill. It's a shutdown that goes onto the Gnar, so once again, more stock invested into Welcome as this top lane carry goes back to base, finishes up at Trinity Force, and now going to be able to kite out this Renekton a lot more. Reminder back from the draft that the Renekton taken blind by Sagenda. Welcome taking the Gnar as the answer. Feels comfortable in this matchup, but Sagittor could be in trouble.
Oh, charm into all of that damage. Everfrost afterwards. Well, here come the rest of Vitality.Bee. So much lockdown. Diplex going so deep. Trying to find the right clone, but will get out to safety. And that got a little bit dicey. But Sagittor does survive, though it does cost him more of his HP and more time off the map. That opens up that topside tower for Yeskler to have free time on.
And there are 3 people there shadowing him as well, so Jessica gonna get a lot of gold. The first turret falls in this bot side. There's nobody there to collect the local gold. A little bit of a disappointment for Vitality.Bee, but they've got so much already in their favor that largely isn't going to be too much of a consequence. Jessica gets this turret on this top side. The local gold is not split at all because, you know, nobody wants to steal away the gold from their hyper-fed AD carry, who's so far ahead of the curve right now that it really doesn't matter. 2.2k ahead of his counterpart in Danny, and not just the gold as well. The experience leads his way also with that level 9 versus level 10. Roughly 500-600 gold worth of base stats that go into that every single level as Diplex is hooked.
The Ultra Shock Laser does incredible amounts of damage, though. Never mind that. Sayator is around, but getting a lot of damage down from the Vault Breakers. I don't think anybody's died quite yet, but the health bars for eSuba are anything but healthy right now as Yaki gets over the wall with the blast cone. We're able to back out. Herald is started again by Skeens, and eSuba quickly realized they've bitten off more than they could chew there.
The saving grace that nobody died, but equally you do get to see that Vitality.Bee have a very strong fighting core, it's particularly with this 3.5k gold lead they've already amassed for themselves. They don't really mind if they have to take a fight. If they fancy taking some scraps on the top side, they're more than happy to throw down. Now, Jessica, he's going to opt into a bit of an aggressive dash right now. Sagittal with distortions. Obviously, LeBlanc notoriously slippery, notoriously difficult to take down, and Jessica instead has to find 4 or 5 minions as a sacrifice from eSuba.
Yeah, you could see what he was thinking about that. Yeskler has definitely been feeling it this game, and rightly so. He's having a phenomenal one so far and living up to the reputation you were selling me in the pregame. But of course, you know, this isn't the truly monstrous leads we've seen from Vitality at this point in prior games in EU Massive. Remember, they are currently undefeated. It's about 2,000-3,000 gold they're up, and you know, it's still a playable option, but eSuba have to be able to deal with this Zeri, and the fact she's already at 2 items is a lot of alarm bells in my mind.
And the way for eSuba to come back into this game is going to be very difficult for them, first of all, because they're relying very heavily on their CC setup. Now, Nautilus, if you can get in range of the Zeri, press R equals success, and hopefully they can use that to then allow Sagittal to jump in, allow Welcome Yaki to get in on top of the Zeri, knock up CC, blow her down. Now, that is a possibility, but as I mentioned, it's going to be fairly difficult because Jaskla, as a Zeri in particular, is going to be very difficult to get fully in range of. And Vitality have got a lot of pieces around him to protect the Zeri in this matchup. Second Herald goes down in the mid lane just to add even more gold, and they're fighting.
Jacktroll goes in, but is immediately kind of CC'd back, and so they'll stop the second Herald charge, and Teleport came through expecting a little bit more action there, I suspect, were eSuba. Now Vitality looking to maybe return the favor. 15 seconds till an Ocean Drake, and they're just waiting to see whether there's an angle. Cease and desist comes through. It's in onto the AD carry. Danny got nowhere to go. The Cyclone trying to do its best to turn around. Jacktroll's blown up by Sayator. Yankee's clone dies on the other side. Schemes taken pretty low, and actually eSuba have got the pick right now. In comes Welcome. Tries to find the Mega Null, can't quite do it. Now he's in danger. No flash. Yeskler running him down, throwing out those burst fires in power by the lightning crash. Has not blown a circuit quite yet. Over the wall goes Sayator, but does not have the damage. In comes the Chamber. Sigenda wasn't there for this entire fight. Now he's coming over. What about can he do? Over they come. Yes,
still going.
Flash forwards. Gets one. Trying to get another. Gets two. The mid jungler dead. Now he can find even more. It's a double already.
That's a triple.
And now Danny must run for the hills. In fact, Welcome trying to recall as well. Is this another one of those Zeri maps? Another one of those Zeri pentas, even potentially. Trying to trade it out. Take it out at the end of the quadra kill. Skeeds onto Welcome. Doing his best. He's on solo HP. Jackal respawned and wants to get a little bit of vengeance for how the play went earlier. 0-3-1. It's not been his Rakan game, but the rest of his team will do the work for him. And Jeskla is just unleashed.
Return on investment going through the roof. Put all outer turret gold on to the Zeri. So much stocks placed in her carry pants, and Jeskla steps up huge when needed, finds a quadra kill in this mid-game team fight. Only 18 minutes into the game, and it puts Vitality 2 Drakes to 1 up. Gold lead of 2.5k at this point, but even further than that between just the AD carries themselves, almost at Infinity Edge already. We're only 20 minutes into the game. Initialize, hitting that item spike so early on is devastating if you are an eSuba fan. You can see that the gold at the back end of that was exclusively them getting the Jeskla shutdown, which meant that it dripped down a little bit here. but still, so much power resting on this Zeri's shoulders, and we did get to see a little bit of a glimpse there of why it can be difficult to catch out Zeri. You saw Welcome jump forward immediately, short dash by Jessica, buys enough space to immune the Mega Knot to make sure that it's not impactful in any capacity, and they just struggled the entire time to get onto this ADC.
Yeah, Yeskler is in some rarefied company as far as AD carry goes. He and Gadget are the only two AD carries above 800 DPM on average thus far in the tournament. They're also the only two AD carries with 20 or plus CSD at 15. They have been utterly monstrous, and Yeskler proving exactly why he is so feared as Skeens finds a two-man Vault Breaker teleport coming through now. Flash forward, cease and desist, goes into the backside. Danny trying to escape, but there's just nowhere to go! He's knocked straight down. The rat is splatted. Trap sprung. Yeskler now free-firing on the other end of his Welcome. Nowhere near a Mega Knot, charmed up. And that was a succubus you really didn't want to invite into your home. Goes straight down as the charm lands. 4 for none. Only Sayator remains. And Diplex was looking to see whether they could claim that kill to boot. Instead, they'll turn straight to Baron as it's pretty much just spawned. And Vitality.Bee are monstrous in this game.
And Vitality.Bee as a 5-man unit, if they get to the mid-game in even fashion, tends to mean that they win games. Through the LFL, this was a core factor of theirs, that they would simply be able to take team fights with more or less either the same amount of gold or, on rare occasions, less gold. In their playoff series against LDLC, they ended up losing in the grand scheme of things, but they found consistent fights against the top dogs of the LFL when they were down in gold. And in situations where they're coming up against these minor ERLs where they have way more gold going into the mid game, team fights are simply going to look better for them. And Vitality.Bee as a whole spare no change when trying to find those engagements. Skeens, you could see Flash cease and desist straight onto Danny, knows exactly the target that needs to be taken down, and wastes no time getting him.
Yeah, apparently playing Monopoly, not League of Legends, because he went straight to jail and did not pass go. And on the other side, you're looking right now at Yeskler, who's clearly been picking up all of the Mayfair spaces, because he's managed to pick up an Infinity Edge now, while Danny has yet to complete his second
hotel status,
item.
right?
Yeah,
that's
right, exactly.
Infinity Edge IE, we go.
It's the absolute monster status. Danny trying to turn this one around. That's again to take him very low. The Blade Rune doing as much work as they can. Cease and desist coming through from Skeens again onto Yaki. They come teleport now coming through. And this was an uneven fight, and already Skeens has got 2. Danny slowed down by the chilling smite. There is no way to go. The Hail Blade doing its work. Danny has got a blast cone, try not to use it to reveal his presence, but overcomes Jack Troll. The scanner will reveal where he is inside the door, and Danny's so low. Diplex on the wall will miss the charm. And
the dash.
But deception. He gets shut down. That's a worthy trade back. Sayator takes that one freely. But all the while, the Baron Chef of the mid lane continues. Vitality maybe playing a little bit too much with their food there.
Okay, there's your one Diplex. Now you can buy the Medjais. Everybody knows that as soon as you buy that item, you immediately proceed to throw away 1 life. Diplex had his moment right there. Can now pick up the book, have a nice little time of things with the AP scalings. But it is obvious, of course, a few turrets in that mid lane going the way of Vitality.Bee. But I want to importantly, stress this once again. The lead that Vitality.Bee have with this Baron, they should be looking to close out the game. eSuba, though, they've done enough to ward off that possibility. Only 50 seconds left on this Baron, and their base is still intact. Some outer turrets are still intact as well, initialize. In terms of what this Baron has accomplished for Vitality.Bee, honestly, I'm fairly underwhelmed.
I completely agree, actually. It's only 2,000-ish Baron power play. That's pretty low, especially considering the lead they do have. Maybe this turns it around, though. A good stoppage by time. Danny, though, is still free-firing. Jeskler doing a lot of work on the back end of it, but will not quite get the kill. The Triumph healing, it was so close. But that Twitch just doesn't have the weaponry, does not have the items to make that a fight it could have been. Instead, it's now a 9th kill for Yeskler.
And in case catching the Zeri out was hard enough, Jessica's got a stopwatch on top of all this as well, so that if somehow, some way, he's caught in the midst of eSuba, he's got 2.5 seconds of invulnerability to scream for help from his teammates and say, guys, I'm in need of assistance, and that should be more than enough than what they need. Jack Troll.
I think he's going to die here. He's got himself
He's
a quick
baiting.
trying to turn around, but the turnaround pretty huge. Jack Troll's still lapping off along. Oh, now what can Yeskler do? He's trying to trade this one out, but it's a 1v2 that he wins. Flash, cease and desist, and they'll get another afterwards.
All planned, everybody. You may think that Jack Troll not yet gone from his LEC days, but knew that Jeskler was within the realms of possibility to help and managed to do so quite successfully. This is going to lead Vitality.Bee to Soul Point on the Ocean Drakes. And of course, 9k gold lead in their lead. They still don't have any of those inhibitor turrets broken down just yet. It means that they're likely going to have to play for another fight around this Baron on the top side. But honestly, that's going to be very easy for them.
Yeah.
They've got this state of the map where they can play through mid and top lane at the same time. Sagenda even has TP if they want to try and maximize on all 3 lanes. I think goals for Vitality.Bee in the short term should be just trying to take down that final outer turret in that top side. If they can get that final injection of gold into their back pockets, it really does put the cherry on top of what is already a very nice looking cake.
Completely agreed, as I've said a few times this game, because it's the truth, Vitality.Bee, outside of a few, shall we say, happy fights, have been pretty much damn dominant across this game. Just look at the discrepancy in AD carries as Skeens trading over wards at the Raptor pit. There is nowhere to be for eSuba. They're spotted out by a Scry's Bloom and a Stealth ward. But that is nearly a 5,500 gold lead individually for Yesla right now.
And there's about 1,000 gold lead between all the other topside carries as well for Vitality.Bee. So if eSuba find any fight, it's a miracle that it goes their way. And Sagenda stepping up, Goblins still ready though. Very hard target.
Shirelius buys time. Skeens has to flash away, but there's a Mega now still available. Skeens taken so low, go down. What about the back end of it? Knocked up! They get the Zeri! She's down! She's dead! Sagenda trying to cover me! But the only thing big cold is a Renekton! That's 3 massive shutdowns, and now they must keep hunting. eSuba, what more can they do? It's 40 seconds until ban, but I just don't think they'll be able to get anything to it. That goal is huge. It buys time. Look at the goal. I think the gold might be broken there.
Yeah.
I don't think it's 13,000 plus Vieska having gone down. But either way, huge fight and a silver lining, a gasp of air when it felt like they were drowning.
And that just goes to show you that this composition from eSuba works. If they can find those fights again consistently, they can take down the Twitch. They can take down the Zeri. They can funnel the Twitch some gold. And you didn't get to see the full power of Diplex. Jack Charles engage, only really finding one member. And I think that Danny actually managed to flash away from it. So incredibly fast fingers on this Twitch. He has that one. He's now going to wait another 5 minutes before he's able to get away from that Rakan engage once again. And initialize, I'm gonna give you a little insight to the North American space as well right here. Because for eSuba, they've got what we like to call the pity prizes, the objective bounties for going their way. Shout out to Rafa for that one. Very popular.
I love Rafa. He's got a wonderful sense of phrasing.
They weren't able to pick up any of those pity prizes outside of the large shutdowns that were over the heads of Vitality.Bee. But if they can find another fight, eSuba could very well claw their way back in very quickly.
Yes, they could. And that LeBlanc now at 2 items. Twitch finally at 2.5 plus boots. Like, it's still a massive discrepancy, but at least you feel like if the Twitch can stand and fire, will do some meaningful damage, even if it's not the hellstorm we're used to seeing Twitches unleashing at this point in a game. All the while, Baron has respawned, and will Vitality.Bee make that kind of over-aggressive mistake again? As actual hunting, they're certainly feeling comfortable enough to contest in the same places that haunted them the last time.
I will say as well, you can see this side lane for eSuba honestly not looking too terrible. Welcome has got Randuin's to deal with Sagenda, who opted into this Sunfire Aegis as a mythic of choice. So the Renekton, rather, not going to be dealing the most damage necessarily, particularly when we've got that defensive item from Welcome and the defensive mythic from Sagenda. So Vitality.Bee right now, they feel no qualms. They're quite happy to try and hit away onto this Baron. eSuba know this is happening, and with both top laners having that teleport, question becomes who's going to get there in time. Welcome has to pick up that Mega Gnar bar. Has just turned from Mega, but Sagenda's already here.
Not a lot of fury. Epicycle down to half HP, under it already. Vasquez rooted. In they go with the quickness. Again, coming up back. End of a lightning crash is down. Vasquez is dead. Trying to escape this one best they can. Jacktroll on the other side. Welcome nearly a Mega. Danny free firing. They're doing quite a lot of work. Shigenda chunk pretty low, as is Jacktroll. Sayador chunks out the Renekton. Remember the teleport burns won't have the easiest place to go, but there'll be Honeyfruit in the river, and they're going to be able to heal up and go straight back towards the Baron. Maybe they won't feel comfortable enough trying it though. Just the one kill makes them too nervous.
I like this. Call that off. Head back to base. Get those resources back. Try and go for that Ocean Soul. 30 seconds on that. eSuba, now they're setting up around this Baron as well, and they've got a decision to make. Do they want to spend this time where they force Vitality.Bee back to base to set up around Barons, take this mid-tier 1 turret, set up around the Drake? So many options, and it feels like they're a little bit deer in the headlights right now. Initialize. They don't really have a plan.
They're trying to get the tower. Can't quite secure it, but a final auto does actually make it happen. Huge win for them when there's been so few to go round in a lot of ways. Third item's complete for Danny as well, by the by. Has got the Hurricane. No ultimate yet, though. Makes it a bit tricky. Dredgeline misses. We got ourselves a fight. Dplex goes in, but now Donny gets the charm. Backs away for now. Fight is commencing, Rude Dude.
Spirit Rush down, though. That's a fairly big cooldown for Vitality.Bee. He's not going to get any resets through these fights. Cyclone just now coming up for Yaki. He needs to find the Zeri. Jessica has been the carry for Vitality.Bee this entire game. All of these fights have gone on the back of this Zeri, but Sejenda's caught on the top side.
Eats a Blade of the Ruin King chunk as well, so he's down about half HP, and goes Yaki as well, and actually he's split.
GA.
How easy can he make that work? He does indeed have the GA. The eSuba grouped together. Sayator now looking for the flank as he distorts over the wall. Shigenda still off vision, healing back up, doing what he can. Jack Troll also on a long wrap around, trying to find the angle. No Mega Nara away for welcome. What can Danny do? What can Yaki do? Danny's going to be unspotted. Gets onto Jack Troll. Quickness comes through, but he's surely about to fall. They're going to get this one down. Lightning Crash comes through, doing his work at the back end of it all. They've got a kill. Onto Jack Troll. Cease and desist onto Danny. But Jessica gets him, and now they must continue the fight, doing what they can. Sayator gets a killing spree as Diplex falls down. Welcome nearly a Mega Nara. Trying to get through. Shigenda down towards the G-base. Just goes down basket. Plus in Zeri, unleashing Hellfire. The burst fire goes to full auto.
No.
It is a rat-a-tat-tat better than you could ever ask. Another quadra kill. Does absolutely everything they require. A 15th kill in the game. 30 minutes on the clock. They head straight to that Baron. And what a fight it was.
Vitality.Bee come up in the clutch. That fight was on such a fine margin. Jessica was so close to going down at so many different junctures, but crucially uses a flash to not only buy space from himself and Sagittor, the assassin from eSuba, but also to take down Danny as well. Cease and desist straight into this Twitch. And unfortunately, down in gold on the Twitch, you don't have the luxury of being able to opt into a stopwatch even. As Zhonya's would be perfect for a Twitch. It's the only way to counter out the Vi, but you don't have that luxury. And Jessica, really good timing. Him going in at the same window as Skeens. They're able to burst out the Twitch, not able to use these 3 item spikes to full extent. And from then on in, Jessica able to sustain up. He's now reached max capacity on this Zeri. Level 17, all 6 items completed. Just 1 level to go before he is at the apex of Zeri's power.
Indeed, they have 4 items now for the Zeri. The only thing remaining is whether she wants to sell the boots for something. As Jack Troll continue to go forwards. There they go.
Again.
Flash Cease and desist, but they're so deep. Jessica's here, though. And that means Danny gets eviscerated by an ultra shock laser. Jessica gets that one, and they just can't kill him. There's just not enough damage. Shigenda's there as well. And it was close for a moment. Another triple kill. But that might be close enough to a quadra, but no, there was someone who stole one of those, and welcome remains while the rest of his team gets eviscerated in their own red side jungle. Gets towards the Mega Nara, but there's just nothing to be done. They'll start running in with this Baron buff with 30-second death timers. I think this will be the death of the game to boot.
And this feels like what the first Baron should have been. Welcome going to make the last stand, try to clear the wave, but it's simply not enough. Vitality.Bee storm their way to game number 1. It takes them a little bit of time initialize. 1 ropey team fight in the mid game, but they do cement game 1.
Oh yeah, Welcome gets turned into a mat. Walked on over, they wipe their feet, and it is a game 1 victory for Vitality.Bee. A little bit scrappy, but dominant nonetheless.
And very well played.